Well, welcome to day 12 of the 21 days of goals. We are past the halfway mark, and today's chapter is such a meaningful one. Today, we're actually going to dive into chapter 12, which is improve your family life and relationships. The chapter actually starts off with such a beautiful quote. It says, "The potential of the average person is like a huge ocean unsailed, a new continent unexplored, a world of possibilities waiting to be released and channeled towards some great good." Well, that's what we are going to explore today. Your potential to live a wonderful, fulfilled life by design. And we are going to use something we're already familiar with, the 12-step goal setting process to guide us. Well, one of the first questions that Brian Tracy asks us here in this chapter is the magic wand question. He says, imagine that you could have a magic wand and create the perfect lifestyle with your family and relationships. What would that look like? What would that look like? Have you ever paused to think about this? When I work with a lot of leaders, I often in a session ask them to imagine their family portrait 10 years into the future. Take your age, take where you're at in life right now, think about 10 years out. You're in that family photo. Who's the person staring back at you in that portrait? I want you to think about, what does your family and your friends think about you then? What do you believe about that version of yourself? I often encourage them to make a list of 8 to 10 things that are true, because Brian Tracy emphasizes here that what you believe about yourself and your relationships becomes your reality. That's very important. That's why this exercise of mentally picturing it is such a huge deal, because you're going to move into the direction of your strongest thoughts. He says that good beliefs enhance your life and bad beliefs destroy your happiness. So once you've decided what you want, the next step is to write it out clearly in the present tense as it was already perfect. Probably used to that. We've done that over a few things now. Here it's all about your family and your personal relationships. Let me give you a way to think about this. I want you to think about your family life and your relationships as an orchestra. As an orchestra, each relationship you have is an instrument contributing to the sound of the overall harmony. And when everybody plays in tune and follows the conductor's lead, you're going to get some beautiful music. But what happens when one instrument is out of sync from the rest, or the conductor isn't very clear? Well, the music starts sounding disjointed and chaotic. As the conductor of your family life, you set the rhythm by creating routines and traditions that bring everybody together. You tune the instruments by investing in each relationship. And then you adjust the dynamics by recognizing that one relationship might need more attention than another in a certain season. But like a symphony, your family life takes practice, coordination, and intention. And when it all comes together, it creates something extraordinary and something that's deeply fulfilling. But here's some highlights of the 12-step process. We won't go through all 12 steps here in this category, but I want to give you a few things. And the first is starting with the magic wand, right? I want you to think about that question. What would your perfect family life look like? And then what would the ideal relationships in your life look like? It's good to get some clarity around that. Then you got to write it down. You got to define that vision for your family and relationships in the present tense, like I mentioned, and you got to consider specifics on, if I want to get here, what do I need to do? I like when Brian Tracy says, what would your mornings and evenings, your Monday to Sunday, your January to December, what would it look like? What he's asking us here is he's asking us, what's going to fill your calendar? When you get really clear and you're writing this down and you're intentional on it, what fills up your calendar? What does your ideal life look like if your family and relationships were fulfilling? Once you have an idea around that, he then encourages us to sit down with our family and friends. Ask them, discuss, what do they think ideal relationships look like? How about your wife, your husband, your kids? What do they think it looks like? Because once you get insights from them and you harmonize it with what you've written down, now you can have a foundation for your family goals. Then after we have that foundation, we need to analyze where we are in our current family dynamics. We need to be honest with ourselves. And this is where we can ask trusted friends or trusted family members for their perspectives on what improvements would be needed to move into that direction. It's going to be helpful. That's us gathering data about what changes we could make. Once we do that, we could identify the obstacles. Actually, on page 146, Brian Tracy says that why isn't your family already perfect is a great question that you should ask yourself. It's going to help you get your mentals going on what are some of the holdups, setbacks, obstacles that are in the way right now. And this is looking at both external and internal factors. And remember, 80-20, 80% are probably internal factors. What beliefs or attitudes or habits are holding me back from creating a happy and fulfilling family life? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. And then the last insight that I'll share with you here is the time insight from near the end of the chapter. Time. Brian Tracy says that that's how our loved ones spell love, is T-I-M-E, time. He says that if you want to deepen the quality of your relationships, more time is the only way to do it. So you got to ask yourself, who do I need to spend time with? And how do I need to spend time with them to show them that they matter? Now let's look at the very back, our action step for this chapter. I want you to look at number 2. Look back over your life and identify your happiest moments with your family and other people. What were you doing? I want you to take a few minutes and think through that answer, and then go one step further and say, what activities do I need to mirror now in my calendar? It's harmonizing your reflection with the exercise on how you're going to fill up your calendar. And then ask yourself, how can I do more of that with the people that I love? How can I do more of that now with the people that I love? I think it's a simple exercise, but it will help us live a life by design. It'll deepen our connection and deepen the joy we have in our family and in our relationships. I think this chapter is a great reminder to be intentional about the people that matter most in our lives. It gets us to take a moment to reflect on our family life, to analyze where we are now, and to take the necessary steps to grow our relationships so that we can grow the connection with those around us. Well, my hope is that this chapter inspires you to focus on what truly matters and to design a family life that fills your heart with joy. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into chapter 13, and we're going to continue this journey of clarity. But keep showing up. We're over the halfway mark. Keep investing in yourself. Keep growing your relationships, and I'll see you tomorrow.